All right. As I said, I read the book. One thing that that moved me, and maybe convicted me is a better way to say it, is Tim's heart for and his dependence on prayer. And you especially see this in the early years of Redeemer. What things moved you or convicted you as you worked on this project?
Well, let's just stick on that theme. You see it as a consistent theme throughout Tim's life, and you could add that later on with Tim's earlier bout with prostate cancer, as well as Kathy's struggles with Crohn's disease. And you see that around that September 11th period, they were both in bad health. They were burned out because of the trauma and all the aftermath of 9/11. The church was in rough shape. Now, they'd lost a lot of money as a result of the recession in New York after the attacks. And you've seen this has come up in their writings, but they talk about how prayer is like taking a pill that keeps you alive. If you knew that you had to do this to survive, you wouldn't miss it. And so that became the anchor of their own prayer life together. Seeking the Lord together every single night, no exceptions.
Even if they weren't together.
Even if they weren't together. So that was a significant part as well. But I loved what Kathy, I know, Jim, this was part of the book that stood out to you as well, but there's a lot about Kathy in here. People are she is the most significant influence on his life. And people are going to learn a lot in there. And I just loved what Kathy said about her early prayer letters for Redeemer Presbyterian Church, and she describes them as the whiniest, most pathetic prayer letters ever written in the history of missionaries about being a mom to 3 boys in New York. And she said all these Presbyterian women felt so bad for her and were so glad they weren't in her situation. They'd send her $5 to take the boys to McDonald's. But I love how Kathy comes back and says there has been no church plant in the history of the church that has been prayed over more, and especially by women, than Redeemer Presbyterian Church. And she says, if you really want to know how to start a successful megachurch, find out where God is already working a revival and then move there, a month later, or a month before, I think is what she said. And that just speaks to their sense that for all the hard work and all the vision and all the planning, in the end, only God could give that growth. And God gave that growth through the means of corporate prayer. And so I think that's a good theme, Jim. That's a convicting one for me as well, as somebody who doesn't describe myself as a real natural when it comes to prayer.